Coach, I guess first obvious question, a week from today, what do you know about your first opponent in Corpus Christi?
I know they'll be very well coached and well prepared. Got a great relationship with their head coach, Steve Lutz, and he comes from great coaching pedigree, and he's done a wonderful job since he's arrived at Corpus Christi. And I know they're excited about their program. They're coming off an NCAA tournament appearance. They got 5 starters back, so it's not the smartest game to host your first one out of the chute, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So they'll be really good on the defensive end. That's where we'll start with them. They'll play man-to-man, tough, hard-nosed, old-school defense, and they're certainly will be well-versed on offense as well. I haven't gotten too deep into them yet. That'll start this week. I know my staff has got a pre-scout ready, and I'm anxious to open up the laptop.
If you're, we talked last week, you said you're not concerned about starters, it's more about who finishes the game, obviously. But going in with it a week away, you got a pretty good idea of your set rotation, or is that something that will play out in November as guys improve or impress you or work with, see who works well with who?
Yeah, like we talked about last week, I like to wait till as long as I can, and even throughout the year, we'll play, top 10 against each other. At least in the past, we have a lot in the season. Now we'll see how it unfolds this year, but I prefer to have them go against their counterpart or the best 10 players just to continue to get better throughout the season. But at this point, I would say I got a pretty good idea of at least 3 and possibly 4, but still kind of up in the air on another spot, and you don't have to wait till Monday to see who that is. I don't want to give away any information. But in terms of rotations, that's still up in the air. We've got a lot of guys that are fighting and scrambling for minutes, and we're real blunt in practice and in video, and they know there's competition, and they know they're being evaluated every single day, and so that ups the ante a little bit for us in practice. And we've got a full week, like you said, to try to iron it out, and then you're right on point. It'll just unfold the way it does. I can't predict who's going to get better and who's going to produce when the lights are on. Some people, cower when it's their time, and some people rise up to the occasion. So we'll have to see who makes the most out of their minutes, and then they'll get more.
You talk about always being a work in progress and figuring stuff out and all that, and how the first couple weeks you're going to be experimenting, seeing who does play well with the lights on and all that stuff. But ultimately, what's your confidence level with the week out, knowing that things are going to be ever changing, but just in the group that you have, how confident are you going into the season?
I'm not sure. We haven't played. That's the downside of not playing exhibition games or in a charity type game where there's fans and the popcorn's popping and it's real. So I believe in the closed doors, but I understand the other side of it as well. So I'm not sure exactly where we're at. I feel pretty good about our group and the progression that we're making. I'm excited that we still got a week left to continue to get better and add some stuff to the mix, so we're game ready for whatever the other team throws at us. But I'll know more, I think, after the first 3 or 4 games. We play 3 games in 7 days, so once we start throwing the ball up for the jump, that's quite a few games in a short time period. And I think after that we'll have a better idea of where we're at and what we need to work on.
Go to staff to coaches, right?
Yeah, and you talk about the progress that you've seen from this team. I guess, once the games do start, what's maybe an area where, you'd like to see maybe them improve a bit on still?
I think when we're fresh and we feel good, we play pretty hard and we defend pretty well. We're still not as good as where I want to be in terms of rebounding the ball, both offensively or defensively. But we have too big of a drop off right now from how hard we play when we're fresh or when they first get into the scrimmage or game or practice compared to when they get a little bit winded or distracted. And certainly there will be a drop off. It's human nature. I don't care how athletic you are, but we've got to figure out a way to, for all of us to play at more of a peak performance, if you will, when we're a little tired or we just, sub in practice or sub into the scrimmage. There's no time to get warmed up, if you will. They've got to be ready to go from the jump. And that's probably where we're at right now, just being more consistent with our effort and our attention to detail on the defensive end. And certainly rebounding is something that we've always prided ourselves on. And right now, I don't think we're rebounding at the level that we should.
Go to David at the table.
Coach, I don't really want to interrupt the basketball part of it, but it's just been announced that John Cole has taken the Auburn athletic director's job. I'm sure you've been aware of what's been going on. Do you have a response to this?
Not really. Haven't really had any time to digest it. Not going to speak on any other man's professional decisions that they have to make. John and I have had a great relationship since I've arrived. Obviously, I'm very grateful that he hired me and my family to be the head coach here at Mississippi State. And if that is truly the case, then I'll wish him well and move on.
Go ahead, Paul.
Coach, we haven't really talked much about this. I mean, we have touched on the chemistry of this group, but you got a mixture of true freshmen, you got some veterans back, you got several transfers in here. You've been able to spend time with these guys. How have they meshed? How have they come together and joked around and gotten along so far from your point of view?
It's always interesting to watch that unfold. Each and every season, they have a different personality for our team. Certainly when you're new, you're more curious to see how that develops or doesn't in the worst case scenario. And it's pretty good. It's pretty good. They like each other from where I sit. I can't speak for them, but I always, and I think I've said this prior, and maybe in a different interview, press conference, that one of my litmus tests is always to see when practice is complete, if they hang around, either in the practice court, the hump, the training room, and just be with one another. Locker room, if guys are, heading out the door as soon as the buzzer sounds or as soon as we break, that's probably not a great sign. Obviously, some people have to rush to a tour or a class or what have you, but and I thought earlier in the season they were showing signs of that camaraderie that everyone seeks by just hanging out and talking to each other and laughing and joking about practice or giving each other a hard time about who won today or whatever the case is. And so there's been quite a bit of that, and it's all been good natured, and I like the vibe that we've given off. And there were a couple instances when I watched the scrimmage tape where some of the guys on the bench weren't as engaged when they weren't in the game, and that'll be addressed individually today about how important it is to be a good teammate. And I always tell them, like, if you're on the court, you don't want 10 guys chilling, sitting back with their legs crossed, watching you play and not giving you the support. You know how good that feels when you're out there and your teammates that you're grinding with every day are supporting you, even though they're on the bench, would rather be out there. And so we need some talks with a couple guys about that, but I think that'll change quickly, and we'll see. Again, a lot of things will unfold when we start playing these games.
What about you, John?
So I know you said you're just digesting the Cohen news, but that's obviously big news, especially for you. Your boss, higher up guy that hired you, leaving. What kind of ramifications does the departure of an AD kind of have for someone like you right before the season, and kind of what does that kind of uncertainty kind of mean to you, think?
I have no idea. It's never happened before, so I can't comment on something I've never experienced. It's out of my control. I've learned a long time ago, you better control what you control, and that's not something I can control, and it'll play out the way it does.
Back to Paul.
First game, season opener, players, whether they're a fifth-year senior or true freshman, gonna have butterflies. How about you? I mean, you've been in this position before too, but walking out of that tunnel for the first time in Mississippi State, what's kind of gonna be going through your mind?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if I'll have butterflies or not. I hope I do. It's kind of a fun feeling. You do it long enough, you don't get that very often anymore. I know I'll be excited. I'll be anxious, just like you guys are, and hopefully our fan base is, to see, who we are and how we're going to play. And but again, how I feel, you'll have to ask me that, a week from tonight about 9 o'clock.
anything else for Coach before we let him go? All right.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
We'll see you
Thank
next
you.
Monday.